So how is Framework holding up? Has it been smooth sailing, or are they on stormy seas? Like a pirate looking for a segue to his sponsor. And I still have these leftovers at the end that I can turn into a 3D printed mini PC running an 11th gen CPU. It's a pretty sick little setup. Sick, like the segue to our sponsor. This is without a doubt the strangest, most expensive, most niche fan that we have ever seen. And I cannot wait to tell you guys how it works. After I tell you how to make money on YouTube, just to create a tiny bit of airflow for the poor low power chip that's going to the deep sea or somewhere equally unpleasant for electronics. You know what's never unpleasant though? My segue to our sponsor. But there are a few things that reflect poorly on the company itself, both past and present, that we simply can't ignore. And we're gonna talk about that and our sponsor. But if you do get your hands on one of these, I think you're gonna love it as much as I do. And as much as I love our sponsor. 3.6 petabyte array managed by one single head server instead of the 5 servers that we have now. And I promise it's gonna be awesome, like the segue to our sponsor.
And then we'll add 60 more and it'll be over 200. And then we'll add 50 more and it'll be 250.
And then we'll add this segue to our sponsor. And I wanna know what they think of Windows in the 32-bit era. We are gonna go for a little ride back in time. But not before we take a ride on this segue to our sponsor. But there's only one way to see if adding extra speed holes to your water block will make your CPU as fast as this segue to our sponsor. At least they're made in a machine shop rather than in a shoe factory. And this segue was made in our segue factory. To our sponsor. What is DRAM? Does this remove the RAM from my computer? Then I suspect this is going to be just as awful as last time. Like this awful segue to our sponsor.
And is there even anything on the show floor here that might make use of either of them? There's only one way to find out, and only one way to hear about our sponsor. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of exciting things here, and hopefully you found it exciting too. And hopefully you'll find our sponsor exciting as well.
I thought I picked up something reliable. Why aren't these things decent? Like our sponsor. Or similar offerings from Viofo will allow you to do that as well, also without breaking the bank. Now let's break our bank, where our sponsor puts money.
But how can fellow Canadians Hypertech get away with dunking in this very expensive gear like their Luke, aka Slick PC? I'll tell you how, right after I tell you about our sponsor. Maybe I can convince Linus to submerge our server room so we don't have to stop filming every time the door opens. And maybe I can convince you to hear about our sponsor.
Oh.
We didn't have 10 gig before. You lied to everyone.
Did I?
Yeah.
Well, we had 10 gig.
Well, now we have 10 gig everywhere.
Neat. And we also have this sponsor.
So I wouldn't hesitate to check it out if you're looking to build your own router or you're currently on pfSense and you want to try something else. Just like you should try this segue to our sponsor. Don't worry, you don't have a choice. This is the segue.
Were we wrong before? Or did something change since babyface Linus was still using Windows 7? And if so, what? I can tell you nothing changes about these segues to our sponsor. It's that combination of software complexity, more available bandwidth, and more data-hungry GPU cores that makes memory speed matter. And it does matter. And so does our sponsor.
Will they stay on the right path, or will they fall in with that crowd? Like I've fallen in with our sponsor. Yay. Maybe next year we'll see a bigger update, or maybe we won't. But what we'll definitely get is a big segue to our sponsor. And where's the RGB lighting? What is this microphone doing in my face? Why is there an LG C2 box on the ground? And who's my sponsor? Green, 50, I don't know. Okay, it's purple now. Well, definitely some things to learn about that, and some things to tell you about our sponsor. You can see he's genuinely upset.
It's been 6 months researching this. What are you doing, man?
We're gonna have some fun today, and it's gonna be sponsored by...
There's a reason why we need it. I've forgotten it. I'm gonna blame food again.
You know what I've forgotten? Our sponsor.
Poorly written ads.
Oh yeah.
It's all fair game for us to roast.
Oh yeah, let's go.
But not before I make this awful segue for you guys to roast to our sponsor. I like how he's asking $150 for the Steam controller.
Yeah, that's like the most expensive thing there, save for the computer itself.
It's almost as expensive as this segue to our sponsor.
multiple monitor support, DVD playback, USB in 2022. Thank you, Billy and Steve. Thank you. Wait, what's this for again? Whatever. Thank you to our sponsor. So long as you don't mind forking over just a bit more cash compared to a used system from the era. And I mean, I don't mind forking over Segues to sponsors like...
This one only has 5 GPUs.
5 GPUs? Well, that's still pretty impressive. Let's crack it open. And let's crack open this message from our sponsor. That's freaking it.
This is like perfect cat bed temperature right now.
And this is like the perfect segue to our sponsor.
They might be bucking industry trends when it comes to efficiency. I might not need to buy a new power supply, after all. What I do need is to tell you about our sponsor. Now, we've heard that before, but hey, we can always hope. Just like we can always hope for a response in kind from Team Blue. And for a segue to our sponsor.
I'm going to tell you, but first, I gotta start paying for this thing with this segue to our sponsor. Of course it's got a sponsor spot. Why wouldn't it have a sponsor spot? So don't wait, go check it out, lttstore.com. And go check out our sponsor,